Hello everyone. This is my first video, so bear with me. I've decided to hold off on showing my face and just use images because of my current situation. My main goal here is to share my story as much as I can, so that one day my children will know just what I went through and why things are the way they are at this point in time. I'll get to all that in another video, but I also do this with the hopes that maybe it will help someone else. Lastly, this is my therapy. Getting it all out in the open, going through everything, and remembering how I feel, I think will assist me in getting past all of this and emerging stronger than before. It'll take quite a few videos to do this, but I hope you can bear with me. So, a little bit about me. I was raised in the Jehovah Witnesses, baptized at 13 years old. At a very young age, I started losing my faith that there was a God. I quit praying before I even got baptized, and I only got baptized to make others happy. I wasn't able to answer the vast majority of my baptism questions, yet I was still allowed to take the big dip, and that didn't sit right with me as I got older. My main reason for my waning faith in God, or even the belief in the existence of God, was that my prayers were never answered. My cries for help went unheard. I was a child. I was being abused physically, emotionally, mentally, and sexually, and no one would help me, not even my Heavenly Father. From an early age I felt worthless and unlovable. Not even God Himself loved me. From a very young age I felt the exclusion when I went to school. My mom kept me home during most of the holiday celebrations, but she couldn't protect me from the ridicule that came with not performing the flag salute. Starting in about the third grade, I was subjected to daily beatings at school. As soon as I'd walk out onto the playground, I was grabbed up by two of the popular girls, and they would walk arm in arm with me like we were old chums as they dragged me down the schoolyard to the far corner. There we were joined by 4 or 5 more girls our age, and once everyone was present and accounted for, I was shoved in the corner and repeatedly kicked, slapped, scratched, punched, and had my hair ripped out in chunks. Why? I still can't figure it out. Other days they would drag me behind the dumpster and repeat the above-mentioned abuse. One day our class went to the library on a trip, and a fellow student threw me through a plate glass window because I bumped into him and dared to touch him and get my germs on him. At home I was subjected to my older brother's name-calling, but then when my parents weren't around it got physical. I was chased around the house, had my hair pulled, my head banged on the floor, and then several times my mom came home and I had a black eye. I told her I fell and hit my eye on the doorknob. And one time I dared to tell her what my brother had done. The very next day I got hit worse by him than before, so I learned quickly to keep my mouth shut. I had a lot of issues growing up in the Kingdom Hall. A lot of the cliques refused to let me in, and my brother also, because we came from a quote-unquote divided household. When I was allowed in, it was usually with the intent of making fun of me. I had quite a few of the parents looking down on me and deeming me bad association for their kids, simply because my father was a worldly man. My first memories of having friends at the hall were being made fun of by those friends. Almost every single meeting, my clothing was mocked, my hair, my weight, pretty much anything became a target. I was excluded without mercy. Very often I would run into the bathroom to escape the little monsters who were supposed to be my sisters, only to have them follow me in, corner me, and make fun. Quite often I was the target of parental counseling, always unprovoked. One time in particular, I was counseled on being jealous and covetous. This was done out of the blue. Nothing I did or said brought it on. It's just that this mother of my friend knew I was poor and that my parents came from poor families, so she assumed I must want everything my so-called friends had. Out of nowhere she whipped out her New World Translation and began flipping to various scriptures about jealousy and wanting what others had. I had no idea where she was coming from or where she was going with all of this, and I was only 14 at the time, so I just nodded stupidly and said I understood. That's not to say I didn't have any friends. I had perhaps 2 or 3 that I was close with and very fond of. One in particular decided at 15 that she no longer wanted to be involved with the Jehovah's Witnesses. She was never baptized, and I envy her. I reconnected with her a few months ago. She was apprehensive at first until I explained my current position, and then she was accepting. Her mother is still close to my mother, and both are still witnesses. All during this time, I felt no connection to God. no overwhelming desire to serve him. After all, mostly I just wanted to ask, what have you done for me lately? But I knew the answer would be radio static. My baptism and my regular pioneering were in an effort to make things come together. I thought that if I did those things, then God would listen to me. Everyone around me would be happy. I'd get a good husband. I'd finally be redeemed from the misery that was my life, and I would be happy. But that never happened.